to the Beverly Hills Plastic Surgery Podcast. I'm Dr. Jay Calvert. I am here with Dr. Millicent Ravello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Millicent, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
You know, we never went over your credentials.
Oh.
Like, why are you allowed to be on this podcast?
Because I am a fellow plastic surgeon, as you are.
So tell us about your training.
So my training started here in Los Angeles. I went to college at UCLA. I did my medical school at USC. I took a little...
UCLA is a pretty decent college.
UCLA, it's okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not USC, but you know.
Yeah, well.
All right, no, it's really good. So, and then where?
And then I went across country, went to Louisiana for 5 years and did my general surgery training out there. And then I came back and did...
There's nothing like Cajun general surgery.
It was good.
One day we're going to do a charity hospital breakdown.
The stories are pretty impressive, and I have to say, I am so thankful for my training out there because that was their goal. Their goal was to churn out well-trained surgeons that could operate and could do anything. Like, that was their one solid
And that
goal.
is you.
And that's what I got.
For sure.
So, did my general surgery, came back here to Los Angeles to do my second residency in plastic surgery back at USC. And then once I completed my residency, I sat my boards, passed my boards, and now I'm in practice.
You are a board-certified plastic surgeon.
Yes, sir.
Certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery.
That is correct.
That's very different than some of the other board certifications out there.
So yes, there are a lot of boards out there, but really the ones that you want to make sure you're looking for are boards that are a part of the American Medical Board of Specialties. That's sort of the overlying ruling government of all boards.
American Board of Medical,
Right.
ABMS.
Yes,
Right.
that's what it is.
Yes.
And they sort of make sure that the boards that they have under their umbrella are legitimate boards and not just something you can get, during a weekend course.
But let's break it down what these boards really are. They are private corporations.
Yes.
They are not government sanctioned, but
No.
the government responds to them.
Right.
Like they are almost government regulators in a way.
Yes.
They are self-regulated, self-tested, self-managed private corporations that are essentially a group of overseers to who is at the standard considering
Correct.
considering a surgeon's or a medical doctor's certification.
Correct. So they make sure that you have done the actual requirements that you need to become a plastic surgeon or a dermatologist or whatever your board is, so that you've done the right training, you've completed a residency, you don't have any strikes against your name that could cause problems. So they really have an oversight into all your training so that some Joe Schmo off the street can't just hang a shingle and say he's done this and that when he actually hasn't.
Right, and so there are private corporations that you can buy board certification
Of
from
course.
if you want to, for like whatever you want.
Right.
There's a Dimitri Martin joke that I really love. It says, I used to play really hard at sports, but then I learned you could buy trophies. And now I'm good at everything. It's a great joke. There are these boards.
Sure. And if
Write a
money,
check.
you'll get a board for something.
You're going to get a certificate that says you're certified.
Right.
Whereas we have to take tests and show up in another state and get grilled by the senior board examiners who are...
It's intense.
It's so intense.
It's not just a matter of doing your training and passing your tests in residency and graduating from residency. This is a whole separate step after residency involving written tests as well as oral exams. And you not only are being asked questions about general plastic surgery and can you answer the right choices ABC. In plastic surgery, you're actually presenting your own cases. So you spend your first year or two or however long it takes to collect the number of cases you need, and then you take those cases to your board and they review all of them. And they pick some of them and they ask you questions and they say, why did you do that? What were you thinking? And you actually have to explain not just general plastic surgery, any generic answer on a test, but your own plastic surgery, your own ethics, why you did what you did, why you have the outcomes you do.
Absolutely, and it is a grill fest.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I have my boards and I'm so glad that they are done.
Oh, totally. It is not simple.
No.
I mean, I remember sitting there defending my choices on my cases, and I was like a punching bag.
Although how nice must it be to be on the other side?
Yeah, it's great.
A board examiner.
Well,
just have that look on your face. I see.
Well, board examiners are under some pressure too because they have to examine very subjective things in an objective manner.
Okay.
I don't think that's easy.
No, it can't be.
I don't think it's easy for, first of all, you're trained by different people that I'm trained by, that this guy's trained by, and we're going to examine all of them, and there are multiple interpretations of how to take care of somebody.
Oh, of course, especially in plastic surgery.
Especially in
There's
plastic
1,000
surgery.
different ways of doing any one procedure.
Michael White, one of my professors at the University of Pittsburgh, he used to come in for every wound problem that we had. He'd say, I need 6 ways to fix this. Free flap and skin graft don't count. So tell me how to fix it. And you'd have to come up with 6 ways. And there were always 6 ways that you could fix any of these problems.
Absolutely.
So if you know that this guy who's been training residents for his entire career, he's probably been in practice now for 30 years, he can get 6 ways out of every single resident. Just think, when you're in front of these guys, now you're the examiner, here comes somebody who's trained by somebody you don't know, they're looking at a problem and they're going to present it, and you don't even, as the examiner, you may have never seen
that technique.
Right. So I think I think it's challenging, and I think that the board examiners, the reason I bring this up in why you are a hotshot plastic surgeon is because you are board certified. You went through this stuff really rapidly. I mean, did you go to high school when you were 12 or something?
10.
Yeah, 10. So you polished that stuff off, and it's a big deal to be a board certified plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. Not easy.
No, it is huge. It's up there with accomplishments.
It is, and I don't think that the public has any clue. They look at you and they look at the guy down the street who didn't even do a surgical residency, who paid for his board certification from the American Board of whatever surgery, as exactly the same. They can't tell the difference.
They can't, and that's the really hard thing, right? As a plastic surgeon, our board that manages all of us can put sanctions on us. They can say, you screwed up,
they can.
You didn't do this right, no board certification for you. And that's very hard for us because that's what we are working towards. But someone who's not anywhere near a plastic surgery league, but they want to do cosmetic surgery, there's no board governing them. So they can say whatever they want, they can do whatever they want, and unless they're committing actual malpractice, there's no overlying board that's saying that they can't do what they're doing.
And it doesn't matter, because in California, you are licensed to practice medicine and surgery with a 1-year internship, and that's it.
Yep, and it is terrifying. And
it's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It is unbelievable. How is that even possible?
And I'll look at other people's credentials online, and as a medical professional myself, I have a hard time discerning what is legitimate and what's not. Because I can only imagine what it must be like for a layperson to try and, bumble through all these acronyms and different letters and certifications. It is tough. It is hard to figure out who is legit and who is not.
Well, that's why I wanted to discuss this with you, because you are an accomplished plastic surgeon, and I think everybody who's listening to this podcast ought to know who's talking to them.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I think it is important to get the message out there that there is a difference between surgeons and between plastic surgeons and between credentialing.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. When you look, if you go onto the California Consumer Affairs website and look up my license, for instance, and you see that there are no actions against me. There's no, I've never been dinged with a gigantic lawsuit. All those things are all there, because other websites can make stuff up and try to extort money out of you. Like this is the part that's really sad, and people don't understand that doctors are huge targets for their reputation. Being literally used against you to extort money out of you.
Because that's all we have. I mean, we have our skills, obviously, and our knowledge, but at the end of the day, it's your reputation.
Absolutely. People know what you're made of or what you're not made of. And that's the thing, is your reputation as a board-certified plastic surgeon is a huge leading credential when somebody says, well, why are you qualified to do this? You say, well, I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon. That means something to another board-certified plastic surgeon. It means somebody who's a board-certified, to somebody who's a board-certified internist. It means something to somebody who's a board-certified cardiothoracic surgeon. They know what that is.
So just to break it down, you're saying board-certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery.
That's why I wanted to talk about this. The next level, of course, is then the Fellow of the American College of Surgeons.
That
because there are boards that like to mimic that credential as well.
Oh, that I'm not aware of.
FAACS
Okay.
is very different than the credential that I have, which is the FACS,
What is FAACS?
the Fellow of the American Academy of Cosmetic Surgery. Is
I didn't even know that existed.
for a couple $1,000 you can get one.
Oh, good grief.
So don't worry about becoming a Fellow of the American College of Surgeons. You just add an extra A, it's bigger anyway at the end of your name, and tag it right on there.
Oh, that's so sad.
But, you know, the Fellow of the American I'm not dissing the American Academy of Cosmetic Surgeons, by the way. I actually think that that credential has some legitimacy to it, because they're not just going to give it to you. They have a little bit different approach, but if we wanted to be Fellows of the American Academy of Cosmetic Surgery, we could be. There are criteria you have to meet, and you can get it done. But you don't have to be a board-certified plastic surgeon to do it. You have to partake in cosmetic surgery, show cases,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
The credential that I have, which is the Fellow of the American College of Surgeons, which will be next for you, means that my practice has been vetted by surgeons from other specialties.
Right.
Very different. And I think that that credential counts for something.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, that's why we're doing it.
I mean, I think the American College of Surgeons is really important. I pay my dues every
Yep.
year.
Been a member since I was an intern.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and now you'll have to go and do all that fun stuff again and sit in a room with
Next
12
year.
other people.
Yep.
Oh, are you doing it next year?
Mhm.
Oh, that's good. So you have your app in already?
Yeah, it's done.
Did I write something for you for it?
You will be. They will be contacting you.
I got it. Okay. I should
See
probably
something
do that.
nice, yeah.
Yeah, she's alright.
Yeah, she's nice.
She's alright. No, I definitely will do something next week, for sure. No, you want to be, I think that is a really important credential.
I agree.
And it's different than FAACS, obviously, but, you know, I always looked for that in people that were working on my family members, and I want to know that, you know, this is somebody that, you know, has enough interest in their career to really
To go the extra
kind of
step.
go that extra
Yeah.
step for the to become a Fellow of the American College of Surgeons.
And it
It's
has
not nothing.
some, you know, it has definitely not, I won't say the word clout, but it has some high standing in the sense that, like you said, you're being vetted by other surgeons outside of your specialty. So cardiothoracic surgeons, ENTs, all these other surgeons. So it's a community of surgeons who have done their part and who are stepping up to get this extra credentialing. And it's not just isolated to our little world of plastic surgery. It's a huge network of competent, skilled, credible surgeons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could have said it better myself. Well, I think we were going to talk about neck lifts.
Yeah,
But
that's-
somehow I got off into your credentials because I thought it was really important.
That went down a rabbit hole.
You know, now we're 13 minutes into this thing, and we got to come back around, I guess. I mean, I think that's the fun part about this podcast. I really want people who are listening to understand, like, we will be happy to take your questions through direct message. We'll be happy to, you know, hear from you on, you know, our own websites. You know, Dr. Ravello's website is
RavelloPlasticSurgery.com.
I'm drcalvert.com, and we also have on Instagram, we have a direct message you can send us through Beverly Hills Plastic Surgery Podcast. It's something like that. I think that's the handle. It was too long to fit in there, but I think it's Beverly Hills Plastic Surgery Pod.
Okay.
But we are here to answer questions. We want to help
We love questions.
people understand what they're getting into with plastic surgery. It's safe, it's effective. The techniques have come through amazing transformations in the past, you know, in the 20 years I've been in practice. It's like a whole different animal.
Past 10 years, 5 years, it changes.
It does. It changes frequently. We stay on top of it. That's why we go to meetings, and we really want to, you know, stay in the game in terms of what we know and what we are contributing.
Right, absolutely.
Speaking of which, when's our paper getting published? Did you hear from these people
I
yet?
have not. I resubmitted
What's up with the
it
ASJ?
about a month and a half ago.
I think there needs to be.
I know, I was just
gotta
thinking
make a
about
phone
that
call.
last night. I was like, what happened to that paper?
So we submitted a paper for publication on harvesting of rib cartilage through a breast operation
Right.
to use the rib cartilage for revision rhinoplasty. And that paper is hopefully going to get published.
Pending. I know. We'll see. They sent it back for revisions, which we corrected, and we'll see.
At least it wasn't rejected outright, which is usually what I'm saying when I'm, because I do review. I review for that journal a lot of times. I'm just like,
Nope.
you know, I read these papers. I'm like,
No.
how can I say this nicely? No.
No.
There's just a big no here. You can't publish like, I think this is cool. Like, that doesn't work. You have to have data, you have to have, like, the publications, peer-reviewed publications are a big deal.
That's why they're peer-reviewed.
But, I think those peer-reviewed publications are really important. And some of the papers that I've published, I think, are referenced very heavily in the rhinoplasty literature. I do want to write up my facelift stuff. That's coming.
That would be the next one.
Yeah, I think so, because the way that I'm doing these facelifts now, I'm much happier with them. Well, let's get back to the neck lift. We'll do that in the next podcast. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
This is the Beverly Hills Plastic Surgery Podcast, coming to you direct from the 90210.